Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. The big news for today is that the entire world today is observing the World Environment Day. In this video, we will be discussing what exactly is the significance of the World Environment Day, how do we celebrate it, and what exactly are we doing about this day in India. But before we do that, I hope all of you know that today was a prelims examination of 2022. And that is why today itself at 8 p.m. live on our YouTube channel, we will be bringing to you the analysis of paper 1, the discussion of each and every question, and the expected cutoff of this year paper. Do join in live for this session at 8 p.m. Now let's begin our video. The World Environment Day is observed by the United Nations Environment Programme on the 5th of June every single year. As the name suggests, the main purpose is to raise awareness about the degradation of environment that is happening in the past few decades and how can we work to ensure that it does not take a shape from where the damage is irreversible. We are facing a lot of problems with respect to our environment these days, and all of you are well aware of it. This includes the over exploitation of natural resources, the issue of climate change, marine pollution, so on and so forth. Now, this World Environment Day as an idea came into being with the Stockholm Conference of 1972. It has a very special place in the international community since this was the first ever world conference with environment being right at the agenda of it. In fact, in this conference, it was declared that the right to live in a healthy environment is a basic human right which must be given to people all across the world. It was in this conference that it was decided that the countries around the world should now start celebrating the World Environment Day. And that is why the 5th of June is taken as that particular day. The celebration each year is on a specific theme. For example, this year's theme is Only One Earth. Each year, one single country is given the responsibility to ensure that the celebrations of the World Environment Day go on in a full-fledged manner. For example, India hosted the 45th celebration of the World Environment Day, and the theme in that year was Beat Plastic Pollution. Just like this year's theme is Only One Earth. Now, the country that has been given the responsibility to celebrate and spearhead the celebrations of this Environment Day is Sweden. The other reason why this year's World Environment Day is so significant is because this year marks the 50th anniversary of the Stockholm Conference. And that is why the entire world is coming together, revisiting the pledges that they had made to safeguard the environment, and they are hoping to take a step together in this particular regard. As I said, Sweden is the one that will be hosting this year's celebration. Also, this year's World Environment Day comes at a time when we are all facing multiple challenges due to climate change, loss of biodiversity, and a constant increase in carbon emissions throughout the world. Just to give you an idea, these are some of the nations that have hosted the celebrations of the World Environment Day on these themes. As you can see, Sweden is the one that is hosting it this year. The theme is Only One Earth. Last year, the host nation was Pakistan. The theme in 2021 was Ecosystem Restoration. 2018 was India's turn to host the World Environment Day, and as we discussed, the theme was Beat Plastic Pollution. Then we have countries such as Canada, Angola, Colombia, China, Italy, Barbados, Brazil. India again hosted it in 2011. The theme in that year was Forest, Nature at Your Service. Now, what exactly is India doing in this regard? The Prime Minister Modi has announced that India will launch a LIFE movement, where LIFE stands for Lifestyle for Environment Movement. This is said to be a global initiative which will be launched via video conferencing. Under this initiative, the Government of India, under leadership of the Prime Minister, is inviting researchers, academicians, and the leaders across the world to discuss the problem of climate change and give their valuable inputs. This movement was proposed by the Prime Minister in the recently held UN Climate Change Summit at Glasgow. The Prime Minister also said that he will invite research papers and ideas from across the world to combat the problems of climate change as the humanity is facing right now. As you would remember, India has committed to a lot of very stringent goals with respect to climate change. At the World Economic Forum also, the Prime Minister introduced P3 movement, where P3 stood for Pro-Planet People. India has been at the forefront of fighting against climate change and is one of the very few countries that is on the path to achieve the INDC goal that we had set for ourselves at the Paris Climate Change Summit. The Prime Minister also said that the throwaway culture and consumerism, meaning that consuming more things than we require, buying much more stuff than we actually need, have led to the climate change challenge. And that is why today's take, make, and use, dispose economy, which actually thrives on buying more stuff and then discarding it, has to be converted into a circular economy so that we can reduce the waste production in countries across the world. At the Glasgow summit, the Prime Minister also announced that India has set a target of net zero carbon emissions by 2070. India has also updated the INDCs that have to be met by 2030, and we have set a very, very aggressive target for ourselves in terms of net zero to be achieved by 2070. Also, production of renewable energy and also the cut down in the carbon emissions. That is what we are doing in terms of achieving the climate goals and ensuring that the entire world is a much better place for the generations to come. As you would know, the developed nations also, including UK and France, have enacted laws to achieve the net zero target by 2050. With India, there was no pressure to announce any year for the net zero target, but we did it on ourselves and we went ahead and decided that 2070 will be the year to show our commitment towards the idea of climate change and fighting against it. This is all that you needed to know about the World Environment Day. Thank you so much for watching the big news.